to mine.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Got a Toy Talk live stream here with Dan Thompson and David T. Allen.
Hey guys, how are you all?
Hey everybody!
Got a few things to cover today. Trying to get back into our Sunday live stream. We've been doing this for a little bit now, and don't really have like a whole lot of structure or anything to it. We haven't really named this live stream, but that's something that we're going to work out amongst ourselves and figure out exactly what we want to do with this. Know that we want to keep up with it. But I see behind you, David, you have the O-Ring Micronauts figures. I've got those coming in.
Yep, these are really nice. I told a story a couple weeks ago with Dan where I tried to get an original Baron Karza figure that was at a store in a town right near my house. A guy had it at a toy store across from a comic store, and I went in there and I saw it. I didn't have the money that day. I tried to go back the next day. That was a vintage Baron Karza, and he sold it. He said, "Yeah, there's a guy that came in after you, and he sold." I was like, "Damn it! I've been wanting a Baron Karza for years." So this is like, I am so happy to have this Baron Karza. You just do not know.
That happened to me with some of the Mego Star Trek motion picture figures. There's a toy mall. Terry, are you familiar with the toy mall, the Louisville?
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
So we've gotten back from Florida, and I did my trip there, and they had like Kirk and I think Scotty men on card. And I was like, oh, those would be nice to have in the collectible room. And I was like, I'll go home and do some research on these. Go back 2 days later, they're gone. And I was like, oh.
It's the way it goes, man.
Every time. I tell people in my store that all the time. If you're on the fence,
it's happened to everybody.
Get off the fence and buy it now because it'll be gone. And even if they don't, even in spoiler alert, sometimes I hide the item. Teach them a lesson.
That's what I try to do, man. Like if I see something I think I want, like I might walk around a little bit, but if I want it, I gotta get it because if I don't, it's gonna be gone.
I showed off that gem doll, so you can go to all your WW retailers and get that. It's on shelves right now. There's plenty of them. They're next to Carmen Santiago, so go to your local WW retailer and get it if you want it.
So that's a new gem doll that they come out with?
Yep, from Loyal Subjects.
Oh, right on.
My buddy and I were talking how cool it would be if they made classified versions of Gem and the Holograms.
Yes.
Or at least the Misfits to put with that Cold Slither set.
I would love to see a classified version of Gem and the Holograms.
There's a tidbit that was in the live. Well, I shouldn't say the live. The interview that Full Force did, shouting out the Full Force, but they did an interview with Lenny and the other guy, I can't think of his name, Tony, and they mentioned they would love to do Gem and the Holograms. That would be a dream of theirs. So hey,
you know what if Gem and her technology came from like Zartan and his technology? There you go.
There you go.
There's your story point. And David, I don't know if you can see, I've got a Micronaut blaster right here.
Yeah, you showed me that.
Oh, I showed. Yeah, that's because I kept playing with it the other day, and I think I shot myself somewhere with it.
Oh my god!
On accident. So if you saw me kind of go like this, that was like, oh yeah, he shot himself with
limping,
the dark
limping in his third leg. Okay, let's get away from that. Synergy. It makes sense that Synergy technology came from Zartan technology because his swamp hut changes into this big fancy laboratory type.
I thought the swamp hut was like a lot bigger on the inside than what it looks on the outside.
Yeah,
I think so in the comics. Yeah, it could all come from Energon.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. So there's a few hot topics. Terry, do you want me to start or do you?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
The G.I. Joe Kickstarter, G.I. Joe Operation Cobra game came out, I think, earlier last week, and it funded within like 3.5 hours or whatever, and it's like blowing past stretch goals and stuff like that. I kickstarted it, and so I did the all in, and I did the expansion as well. So I think that ends Tuesday.
So who's doing that?
The name of the company is something games. I can't think of the name of the company. Let me look at my phone and I can figure it out. I get texts from them all the
We're
time.
very prepared.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was not prepared.
Yeah, he was talking about a Kickstarter, but I have no idea who's doing it because I mean, like, it's got to be some independent company that's licensing G.I. Joe for their game.
But
Yeah, what's it about? I've been out of the loop for like a week and a half. So like,
it's a strategy game. There's a lot of figurines and stuff like that, and you can paint the figurines. Where is it? Hold on, I'll find
Well,
it.
I know Sidebound's getting ready to launch their Transformers compendium.
Oh, that's right. That's coming
And
out
that
too.
looks pretty good.
Oh, here it is. The Kickstarter. It is. Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm in so many Kickstarters, it's hard to keep track. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's the wrong one too. Where is it?
Yeah, so what is it? Is it G.I. Joe Mission Critical? That looks like 2024.
No, it's not Mission Critical. It's a completely new game all by itself. That is a separate company. And where the heck is it? Oh, GameFound. It's through GameFound. Is the name of the company. G.I. Joe Operation Cobra. OC Games is the name of the company. And it's on Kickstarter. So there you go. That's the minimum of knowledge that I could give.
How many did you order?
I ordered the all-in pledge, which was $255, and then I ordered the expansion, which was another $45. So it was about $300 for all that. But there's tons. They've blown past their goal, and they are like 50 different stretch goals in.
50 different stretch goals. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this here a little bit. I'll kind of navigate around the page. I'm not going to play the video because I don't want the noise coming across. But, yeah, OC Games. That actually looks pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty
cool. You got a lot of miniature figures with that.
It looks a little bit like Axis and Allies. There's a lot of figurines. There's a lot of cards. It comes with file cards for all the characters.
Oh, that's really cool.
They all look very classified based.
Yeah, they are classified based, but you can have someone paint it. I have a friend that's a really good miniature painter, Alex Painter, that I hung out with at Assembly Required the last 4 or 5 years. He's phenomenal miniature painter.
Damn, $380. That's for the Commander pledge.
Yeah, they added a new pledge.
Okay, so that's the base game, all the expansions, exclusive content, printed mission, silent interlude. Yeah, that looks really cool, man.
You get a lot. You're going to get a lot for your money. Trust me.
Like, I would totally buy this if I had anybody to play with.
Well, that's the problem I've had with the Renegade Game Studios stuff. I'm like all in on Renegade Game Studios. I bought almost every single thing that they've released for G.I. Joe, but there's literally nobody here to play games with. G.I. Joe games, anyway.
I mean, you got Mr. Packard, but...
Yeah, he doesn't want to play games. He's a dud. He won't play games. I'm thinking about bringing Tatiana this summer when I come up there to visit you, and we can get together one night and play something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be there. I'll be there Friday, the Friday before the show, and then
Assembly Required, they have a dedicated area there where you can play Renegade Game Studios. They have an actual thing. The Dealt Hand has a whole area that has all the G.I. Joe games. And I've gone there with a few of my friends to Assembly Required, Bill Leach, Jason Packard, Roger Taft. We've gone and we've played games there. Tim Finn and stuff, a whole bunch of us.
That's in Iowa, right, David?
That's in Iowa, yep. Des Moines, Iowa.
So speaking of shows, what are you doing, David?
Oh, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to announce that I have a convention that I've started, and this will be the very first year of my convention. It's called the Central Florida Joe Show, or CenFlo Joe Show for short. And it will be a one-day show to start. This is our first one. It will be in September the 28th. It'll be a Sunday this year. And so we're just now getting vendors, and we've already gotten everything ready to go. The venue's paid for. We got all the banking and all the LLCs and all the business parts all done. Now we're getting vendors. And so if you're watching this video and you live in Central Florida and you would like to go to a dedicated vintage toy show surrounded by G.I. Joes, this is your opportunity. We've brought it back to Florida.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very
Pretty
nice,
awesome.
man. It's good to
I
see.
wish you were doing it in June when I'm down there. I would have stopped, make a stop.
Well, I was trying to do it at a time that I didn't feel there was a lot of overlap with other stuff, and there's still overlap. Our weekend, there's like 2 other shows possibly.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be hard to find anything that doesn't have an overlap. I'm curious.
Especially these days.
Well, we're doing a one day to test the waters because I don't know how successful this is going to be. And this is just the first test. And we're very, very, we're being very, very careful and very frugal about like vendor costs and that. So our budget is very tight. And so we're just testing the waters. This is the first time. If it's successful, what our success is going to be is 2 or 3 criteria. If we meet all 3 of those things, that we can do a following year, and then we'll expand to 2 days. And then if it's successful for those 2 days, we'll do a larger venue and a larger event, 3 days, and so on. I hope it's going to be successful. I think there's a big enough audience in Florida alone, and then the southern end of Alabama, southern end of Georgia, where I think we could do fairly decent. In the future, I'm going to be a little bit more careful about what weekend I pick, but
hey, it's a start. And Florida's what, the 3rd most populous state right now? Soon to probably be 2nd.
Yeah,
So
there's
yeah,
a lot
there's
that
times.
people can do. They can come for vacation, they can go do a bunch of stuff, and then come to the show on Sunday. Look at that. A tricycle. Big wheel. I used to drive those when I was 5.
Yeah, it's the Tri-Fighter.
I was actually the fastest big wheel this side of the Mississippi when I was a kid. I miss those days.
You know what? I vaguely remember, like, I maybe had a big wheel. Maybe. I don't remember riding it a lot.
You know a big wheel I wish I had? The G.I. Joe big wheel.
Yeah, that's what that is. That's what that's patterned after.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Man,
Yeah.
those
I never had that one.
They go for big bucks.
Really?
Yep.
That's actually kind of surprising.
Wasn't there a snow sled that looked like a snowmobile?
Yes.
Or am I misremembering that?
No, there was.
I have no idea. I didn't have a lot of stuff like that. So
Well, your generation came a little bit after the initial boom of the 82 to like 87
Right.
boom. You came later than that, so you missed a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, we're very sorry for that. Not really, but just sounded good.
But there's different generations. Some people came 84, some people came 88. It's different groups of people. But
Yeah,
You know, I
internet.
might have
I
mentioned
mostly got
this.
into.
I
I
might have
mostly
mentioned this on a. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead.
I might have mentioned this on a previous show or to you, David, when we were doing a show. I remember back in 2018, my best friend and his son and I and another friend went to JoeCon, and I asked his son, I was like, "What convention is your generation going to go to?" Like, because all the stuff he likes is stuff that me and his dad grew up with, and it's kind of like maybe Peppa Pig. I don't know.
No, man. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I think that GI Joe should have been reinvented for a new generation
Yeah, I've
because
been doing. Uh, I've been doing the reviews. I started a new series doing reviews of the classified, and I know I'm 5 years behind, but I like those futuristic versions. I liked it. I thought there was sci-fi technology. I think it was the right time for that. I think we keep trying to capture these people from 40 years ago. That's a mistake. A real American hero did not do that for the 60s, and the new sculpt didn't do it for the 80s. So why are we doing it in the 2000s?
Well, I mean, it's the same reason that we make a Superman or Captain America figure and they look the way they look, because those are classic looks for those characters. And it's not necessarily G.I. Joe, the brand. Sure, yeah, with the 82, they weren't trying to remake the 12-inch guys, but there wasn't individual characters back then. Whereas these guys, and I'm all for updating the looks, but I personally would have started. Well, I know why they did what they did, but I would have started with the classic looks, and then like when we kind of ran through some of that, okay, now here's our version of Spirit 2.0 or Duke 2.0, or that's when I think you could have some fun with it. But yeah, I think that those looks are pretty classic. I mean, like I said, like Superman and Spider Man. I mean, they're like there's something classic about that look. Yeah,
It's
yeah. If they're wearing like bell bottoms or something, you want to kind of nix that. But
Well, yeah, of course. But it comes down to artistic interpretation. Like, how many people have drawn Superman, Batman, Spider Man? Thousands of different artists over the decades, right? But there's certain iconic things about those characters. That Superman S, that's Superman. That bat on the chest, that's Batman. Spider Man with webs on his costume and stuff like that, that's Spider Man. So there's specific iconic details of characters. And look, I think all those things were there for that first initial 5 G.I. Joes. Snake Eyes was all black. Duke was blonde. He had a beige and camouflage. Scarlet was a redhead that was espionage and so on. Roadblock was a big dude and he was an African guy. Those details are those characters. They didn't lose that stuff. So it's a little weird. Terry?
no,
Yeah, but I'm talking
I,
about like actually giving a solid story, and we have that I think with the Energon universe.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, the Energon universe could potentially be that reinvention if they would just go all in and make the toys for it.
well, and
Speaking of,
I think the big component would be some type of cartoon.
Yeah,
You gotta have something that's going to hook the kids, and as for
I,
but the Energon universe is kind of violent too. So, but I mean,
yeah.
you could kind of tamper that down a bit.
I don't think it needs to be tamped down, man. I think that it needs to be done just like they did with Invincible.
I mean that's kind of made more for us though.
well,
Yeah, it is made for a more adult audience, but
I,
still,
mean,
I mean,
I think there's a happy place that they could meet with that, but they have to
well,
attempt it. You know,
yeah,
we've talked about this, all of us, numerous times. X-Men 97 was the happy place. It was much more mature than the previous X-Men 96 and before, but they updated it to a much more mature audience, but kept it still to a certain point where new viewers, new people coming in could watch it and still pretty much understand what was going on. That's your happy medium right there.
GI Joe '88.
We've talked about it. Speaking of comics, though, Skybound. So they started the Silent Missions month. So this is the reprint of Silent Missions, Silent Interlude number 21, and it has all the Silent Missions characters. This is an Andy Kubert cover, so this is a reprint of issue 21 again. They reprinted this probably about 20 times, but the very first one is Beachhead, Silent Missions Beachhead. I got the variant, the B variant of that, and it's really cool. It is nice. Dan, did you get these?
Oh yeah, we'll get all that stuff I've ordered a while back, and we did some rotation. I think next week is Jinx. Yeah,
they got
I
the
took-
cover article for Comic Shop News for Silent Missions.
yeah, I took mine home and read them, or rather looked through them. And I got every time they reprint 21, I always have to pick that up because that's such a classic.
And it says here, G.I. Joe gives Cobra the old silent treatment. That's the article. Now, there's an interesting thing in this where Larry comments on Silent Interlude. You guys might find this interesting. I don't know if you guys have met Larry Hama over the years. Have you? Either of you?
Yes.
I have not.
You've never met Larry Hama?
Nope.
Well, he talks. He gives a little blurb at the end of this. Supposedly, there's an extra page in this. I've looked through this and combed through it and compared it. Does not look like there's an extra page other than this article page. This article page. And he basically goes over the story of how Silent Interlude was created. But he has a thing at the very end of this, and I think you might find this interesting, Terry. It says, my heartfelt thanks to all the readers and fans who faithfully followed the adventures of my characters and still support my efforts of this to this day. I try to keep faith with readers by giving my all to a toy book, which were considered the bottom of the barrel back then. Despite working for a lower rate and being completely ignored by the organized comics industry of the time, I never imagined I would have the legs. It would have the legs that it has. Thank you to all of your support and greatly your appreciation, Larry Hama. Can you believe that? It was the bottom of the barrel. It was a toy property. He didn't even get paid legitimate rates for doing this comic. And it is now going on 316 issues through 3 companies. And the respect, he's gotten an Eisner Award. He's gotten a Kirby Award. Now, G.I. Joe has proven through thick and thin that it is here to stay, and it's not going anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that it's going anywhere, man.
Well, he got paid pretty good to have a home in Tribeca and a home in Long Island. So
he worked for Marvel for many, many years, from the 70s till like the late 90s. He worked on Avengers. He worked on Wolverine. He worked on a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, and he also created another property aside from G.I. Joe later on. It was Bucky O'Hare.
Bucky O'Hare.
He told me that when he got his first royalty check off that video game, he couldn't believe how much it was.
Really?
Yeah. He didn't say, I didn't ask him what it was. I didn't want to be rude, but I thought that was pretty cool.
And he's an actor. He's an actor as well, and he's done a lot of other roles in film and TV. He was in MASH. He was in Warriors. He's been in all the G.I. Joe movies.
When was he in the Warriors?
When the film was originally created, the original movie in 1979, I think it was, or 80.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen that movie 1,000 times. One of my favorite movies, and I've never seen him in that.
Well, he's in it.
Oh.
Where is he in it? Let's look this up.
He's probably an extra. He's not like a major actor. He's an extra. He was in MASH, for God's sake. Who do you think he was in MASH?
I have no idea.
Well, I remember that episode. He played a.
Larry Hama was a Mongol gang member.
There you go. See?
That's pretty badass.
The things
Now I'm
you
gonna have to
know.
rewatch it.
Yeah,
Gives me
just
an excuse to
random
rewatch it.
gang member.
So he was an extra, like I suspected. Um, so yeah, so that's really cool. I'm looking forward to the next one of the Silent Mission series. So we've got Jinx coming up next, then Roadblock, then Spirit, which that's my favorite GI Joe good guy character of all time. So I'm super psyched about Spirit, and then we're gonna have Duke has a Silent Missions issue. Can you believe that?
He's a man of
It's
action.
odd that they would have Duke do it.
I know. I was thinking maybe you could have somebody like Quick Kick, or maybe somebody like I don't know, Storm Shadow, or something like that.
Quick
Uh,
Kick talks too much to be silent. That would be like me being in a silent issue. It wouldn't work.
I wasn't gonna say that, Dan, but I'm glad you did.
Although I'm kind of quiet today. I don't think I've had enough caffeine, but
That's all right. Here's a bit of a preview for the next GI Joe #8 next month in A Real American Hero 317.
Oh, Larry was also in a band.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
still in a band.
He's a big musician.
Guitarist for the band K-Optics.
There you
In
go.
the 1970s, was seen in minor roles on television shows like Saturday Night Live and MASH. In 1976, he was cast in 2 roles: Stephen Sondheim's original Broadway production, Pacific Overtures. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's got a very eclectic career. You want to go over WonderCon and lack of Hasbro and WonderCon, Terry?
Yeah, man, I don't really know anything about WonderCon, so
It's
fill
like
us
the
in.
sister. It's a sister convention of San Diego Comic-Con. So it's like a smaller version of San Diego Comic-Con. It's in Anaheim, California. Hasbro was there last year. They did drop some reveals there last year, but they were not there this year. But Jada was there, and they had a wonderful showing. A lot of friends in your Circle of Jerks podcast were there, and they got to talk to them and interview. They had some really cool new Street Fighter figures, a whole bunch of interesting stuff. Are you into the Street Fighter figures at all, Terry?
I am not.
Oh man, they're beautiful.
They are. Yes, I've seen them. They are awesome looking figures. It's just not something I'm into.
Well,
I think they look cool.
Well, the thing about it is, I thought they were like kind of cousins to G.I. Joe, because they were in the original Real American Hero line from 82 to 94 as a sub-series, right? So I was like, okay. Toy Kind of Mood kind of did some really good reviews, and I was like, God, these guys. And I got one, and I was like, God, now I'm going to end up getting this whole thing. And they're 6-inch scale, so they do scale well with Classified. They're a bit bulkier than Classified, obviously, but they scale very well. They have beautiful packaging. There's a lot of cool variants, second versions and things like that. So I've been getting them, and I'm just going to get the main characters. I'm not getting the second skins and the second game versions, but they're worth it. What's that?
Operation Monster Force.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
These are the first 2 figures that I got. I bought them on eBay. They are exclusives. They're convention exclusive figures, I think. And I think one of them, or at least one of them, was a Joe Fest exclusive. And
Monster Force was at WonderCon too, weren't they?
I'm sure that they were. But I like the concept behind Monster Force, and
I like it too, but there's only so much I can get.
I mean, better get them.
But you know, all the stuff that I do get, I'm trying to keep my stuff contained to G.I. Joe. I do get Marvel Legends. I do get Black Series and vintage Star Wars.
I like these a lot because they are horror themed, and I'm really into horror stuff.
Well, I agree with you. I love horror. I love vintage horror.
Yeah.
from the Universal era. I am not big into modern horror at all.
So that's
My
what
son,
these are. These
my
are.
son got Michael Myers mixed up with Jason.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was watching I've been on a Val Kilmer kick since he passed away,
Yeah.
and so I'm
Sad.
watching. Yeah, it's terrible. Rewatching Heat, and they have the hockey mask on in the beginning, and he saw me watching the trailer. He's like, "Is that Michael Myers?" He's like, "No, actually, that's from a different movie, and it would be Jason if that was it." But yeah, it's the Val Kilmer thing's kind of sad.
But
Yeah.
he's been very sick for many years, and he's had a couple remissions and he's gotten well and then had remission. So he's been struggling with this for a while. And he had a decent life. 65 is not anything to sneeze
So he
at.
died from pneumonia, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was complications from his medical problems that he's been having all these years.
Well, it's kind of sad that Hollywood kind of turned their back on him when he got sick.
No, that's not true. He was
Yeah,
in other things.
Tom,
He had a
Tom,
cameo. He had a cameo in the new Top Gun. He's been
yeah,
in other
Tom Cruise
things.
pushed for that.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise fought tooth and nail for that.
He's had cameos and things here and there.
Yeah, studio didn't really want him in it, from what I understand, and Tom Cruise I've got a lot more respect for Tom Cruise. Ever since he jumped on Oprah's couch, I was kind of like, who is this guy? Like, I need to pay more attention to him, And he fought for that. I rewatched that scene a few times. That's a good scene, and that's pretty cool. He got him in there.
I
And
will say, Dan, I will say he's my favorite Batman out of the movie Batmans. I'm not going to take anything away from Adam West, but Val Kilmer is my favorite movie Batman.
speaking
Christian
of Batman,
Bale is mine.
Christian Bale's yours?
you guys recognize that?
Yeah, that's the Adam West thing where he opens up, presses the button. So you have some slide poles down there that you go to your zone.
They're not
page.
slide poles, David.
What do they call?
For my OnlyFans page. That's why I'm working out. It's for the OnlyFans.
Gosh.
Yeah, and when we're talking about favorite Batmans, I guess I got to go. Man, I got to go Michael Keaton.
I give
Really?
Michael Keaton respect. He owned it. He owned that because there was a lot of flack at the time. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but Michael Keaton has owned that role, and I appreciate that he has because he got a lot of flack initially about that role. So we don't want to get on that.
Terry, what's your favorite Christian Bale Batman?
My favorite.
I am Bane. How are you today?
What do you mean? Oh, my favorite of the three movies?
Yeah, what's your favorite of the three?
Oh, man, I don't really know which one of those would be a favorite. That trilogy though is my favorite Batman set, I guess.
I'll tell you my favorite Bale one is the first one with Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. I thought he was phenomenal as Ra's al Ghul. I love him.
Yeah, I thought he was too.
He was like
I think that the Nolan movies were the best attempt at doing Batman. I thought the third one came up really flat. It's got some good parts in it.
It was too long.
And Warner Brothers kind of cut Christopher Nolan's knees out from under him because he just got an Oscar basically for Dark Knight. I think it won like 2 Oscars for he's what's his name? Well, I must have hit my head on the pole going down. Heath Ledger. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Get my geek card taken away from me here. Heath Ledger won an Oscar, and then the movie won an Oscar for like best sound or something.
It was posthumously Heath Ledger passed away.
But Warner Brothers had said it doesn't matter what this one's going to do. We're going to reboot it anyway. And it's like, why would you do that to Christopher Nolan?
Well,
I personally think
it wasn't Christopher Nolan's fault. It was because they were in the throes of an AOL buyout that caused that.
the AOL Time Warner merger happened in the 90s.
Have you guys watched the Batman?
Yes, I like the Batman.
Is that the one with Twilight?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't because he doesn't look like Bruce Wayne.
What does Bruce Wayne look like? What does he
He's
look like? He's a
I don't know,
male
for
with black hair. What else do you need?
85 years. He's been a 6'4" dark haired guy, not a.
If you approach it from a perspective of like this is not that same Batman.
Different Batman.
This is very very much more the Dark Detective.
Which
And
I
he's
appreciate
grounded.
that. I've heard that.
Way more
Well,
grounded.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say something very controversial. You guys will probably delete me off the stream here. I don't. So in 2018, within a span of a couple months, Iron Man was on TV and Dark Knight was on TV, both on my own on Blu-ray. And I was like, you know what? It's been 10 years. Let's see if these hold up. Iron Man, I think, still holds up. There's some Burger King references. I mean, Burger King's still around. And Dark Knight, I don't think holds up as well. There's elements of it that does. And well, like the story wise, it makes some of it makes no sense. So like my favorite of the Nolans is Batman Begins. I think Liam Neeson's perfect as Ra's al Ghul, or as the lady at the party says, Raz al Ghul. Have you met him, Bruce? And I just think and I think Christian Bale's Batman voice in the first one's perfect because it's different enough from his regular voice. And then it just got silly, where it was like, and it was, it hadn't been since Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon that I watched the movie in its original language with subtitles until Dark Knight Rises, because it was just like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, except I understood what they were saying in that movie because I could speak a little of that language, or understand it rather. But Dark Knight, I think Heath Ledger is incredible in it. He's not necessarily my favorite Joker. If he's not, he's really close because I'm a Jack Nicholson Joker guy.
so I'm not, man. I don't.
And that might be part of that was a great summer.
Cesar Romero.
Oh, Caesar is awesome too. Great Latin actor. One of the greats. I love him in Ocean's 11. 50% of something's better than 100% of nothing. That's a great line. But in Dark Knight, so you have the Joker show up, and like Christopher Nolan said, the Joker's like a hurricane. He's like a force of nature. He blows in, causes damage, and then blows out. And yes, Heath Ledger died, all that sort of thing. And there's rumors he may have been in the third one. He may not have been. It might have been a cameo. He really wasn't the focal point of the third movie. Anything I've read or studied about it. But you had Aaron Eckhart, he was just overdoing it as like Alpha Chad, the whole movie. And then I have a big problem with Rachel Dawes. So Rachel Dawes in Batman Begins is dating the DA, right? And he gets killed. He gets killed in the shipping container. He's like, this isn't on the manifest. And like, and he's gone. And then, so in the second movie, guess what? She's dating the DA again. She's dating Harvey Dent. So it's like, maybe get outside of your office with that. But so she's dating Harvey Dent. And then her and Bruce have the conversation. She's like, you need to give up being Batman. That's the only way I'll be with you. It's like, okay, first off, they've never held hands or kissed. And you're engaged to Harvey Dent. Why would you even have a conversation with Bruce? Like, I'll leave my fiance for you if you quit being Batman. And then Joker's killing all the fat guys dressed as in hockey gear, I love those scenes are great. He's all, oh, and then the guy's like, we're not scared of you. And he said, oh, but you are, and all that, and kills him. He's like, if the real Batman doesn't surrender, I'm going to keep killing these fat guys dressed in hockey gear or whatever. I'm joking when I say some of this. And Bruce is going to surrender. And it's like the conversation that he and Rachel should have had, she should have been the one saying, you need to surrender to stop the killing. And Bruce just stopped her and said, no, this is my war and there's casualties. I'm the only one that can stop things like the Joker or whoever this guy is. If I give up, if I surrender, he takes the city and kills everybody, which was his plan anyway. He was going to blow up the bridges and, kill everybody. He even says it's one about the money as he burns it. And so none of that made sense to me. Like why Bruce would want to give up to go on a date with Rachel Dawes if she was getting married. And then you get past that and you had the whole thing where Gordon fakes his death to catch the Joker. And that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Why did you need to do that to catch the Joker, which you put him in jail and he blew up the police station and killed everybody anyway? And then when Batman's on the Bat cycle or Bat pod cycle, and Joker's like, come on, here I am. and he's gonna run him down. He's like, ugh, and he like crashes. Why didn't he just pull out the batarang and shoot him and wrap him up? Or why didn't he clothesline him or jump off and beat him? Because obviously, a healthy Batman could take Heath Ledger Joker in combat, or you would think, but he almost gets killed by not running over him, which made no sense. I'm like, some of when you rewatch it, some of it doesn't make. Oh, what in the world? Oh, I'm gonna. How do I delete you all off of here? That's awful. Oh, it hurts my soul to see that. And did you see he's in Tron Ares?
Yeah, he's gonna be good in that.
Dude, I like
Kinda-
Jared Leto.
Kind of digging that Nine Inch Nails music in there. Are they doing the whole album, do you know, or is it just part of it?
I have no idea, but I love me some Tron, so I'm looking forward to it.
That looks fun. But
But
no, those are kind of my arguments with Dark Knight. I think it's a cool movie. I still love it. I think that the intensity of the movie is great. It is almost kind of like a crime movie versus a Batman movie, but I think you could kind of do both. But just the stuff like I'm going to give up to have Rachel, so he's going to turn himself in and go to jail for 50 years, and she'll be waiting for him. Like, sorry, Harvey, and our kids, and grandkids.
it's fantasy, Dan. It's fantasy. It's comic books. It's supposed to take you outside of your normal everyday thing. So if you're going to give up all this stuff for romance, that's a fantasy, I think.
Not if you grew up listening to 90s hip hop like I did. You don't give up all your stuff for romance.
I don't know. Trust me. I was in that position. I pretty much gave up my entire life to move in with my significant other, move to another city, quit my job, leave my established place I was living with my twin brother. So I had that choice in front of me, and I chose to follow love. So I do believe that's a legitimate thing. Maybe not to save the world, maybe not to save the world, but it can happen.
This is an obscure hip hop reference. 3 Times Dope. They have a song called "Funky Dividends," and it's about the plight of young men courting the opposite sex, or courting a love interest. Yeah. It's not like a profane song. It's actually got a really cool beat and stuff. It's been popping up in my YouTube feed here lately. A little awkward to work out to, but it's pretty cool.
So Terry, did you catch the Hasbro stream or drops? I think it was on Wednesday. They didn't want to drop it on Tuesday, April 1st, so they dropped it on Wednesday, April 3rd. 4 new renders. And a little thing saying that we're going to get a pre-purchase. What is it called?
The pre-orders drop on April 15th.
For Armor Coco, redecoed, repainted Major Blood, Snake Eyes version 4, Monkey Wrench that looks bad.
Monkey Wrench does look really good.
And the Claw, finally. We've been wondering what the hell happened to the Claw.
Hopefully, it's a Pulse exclusive.
And it's a Pulse exclusive. And possibly, yes, it is. It is. It's a Pulse exclusive. And possibly Slice and Dice, I've heard. Did you check those out? What do you think of those figures? In that?
Oh, I've seen them since they very first started talking about them, since they very first started showing the reveals of them. I like them. I mean, they're G.I. Joe. I mean, of course, I'm going to buy them.
Oh yeah, Armor Coco is like one of my all-time favorite character figures and stuff like that. Are you upset that it didn't include the Fred head?
I think they could have done that pretty easily. They could have given us the Fred head with the removable helmet, but since they didn't do that, I think that it leaves room for a retro carded version of that figure where they could make him have a Fred head with a removable helmet. They could.
I'm thinking maybe they could do a 2-pack of Billy in like kind of ninja fatigues, Fred, Cobra Commander, Coco armor with the Fred head and the Pogo as a set.
See, I think what they really should have done is give us the Fred head with the removable helmet for this one, for the boxed version, and then for the retro carded version of it that they'll inevitably do, just have the masked helmeted head.
Right. I think you're right. I think I would have just stuck the normal head on the vintage version, and I like the snake eyes version. Not snake eyes, but the helmet with the snake eyes.
I've thought this for a long time. I think that they are slightly misusing the entire property of the retro carded line.
Oh, yes.
I think that with the artwork that very obviously is at a bare minimum AI enhanced. At a minimum, it's AI enhanced.
Yep.
That instead of using actual retro card art and the figures. I mean, the figures that they're starting to put in that line now, like, what's the point of it being a retro carded line if they're not making retro styled figures for that line?
Exactly. Yep. You're right.
I don't know what they're trying to do now. It seems like they're just doing whatever, just throwing a bunch of shit at the wall and seeing whatever sticks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought we were getting to a point where we're going to have two dedicated lines, vintage and normal classified. But now with the recent stuff, which the green shirt's fine, he's a fine addition. The vintage bat, okay, I could have lived without that. I don't think we needed another bat in that color scheme, just brighter colors and a removable lenticular thing. But I agree with you 100% on the vintage. I think if you're going to go all classic, you got to go all classic. I mean, from packaging on down with it, right?
Right. I totally agree with that. I think that if they're going to have it be the retro carded line, then it needs to be retro artwork and retro figures.
Yep, I agree. I would have even put the cross cell on the back.
Yeah.
I think the Cobra Commander should have come with a Fred head instead of the helmet with the Dick cartoon Cobra Commander head.
The Dick cartoon.
I like the Dick cartoon.
Oh,
I like it just because it's.
I'm not sure why they're even leaning into that. That makes no sense to me. Like, I like doing the mass device stuff. We don't need,
Super 7 did heavily lean into Deke. There's a lot of characters that appear in the Deke cartoon that never appear anywhere else. Cesspool.
I thought it was the Dick cartoon.
No, Deke.
I hear the kid. It's very creepy. It's like there's like a kid's bed and like I just picture like the South Park episode.
We lost Dan.
We lost Dan. That's all right. Let's keep moving. No, it's pronounced Deke.
No, it's pronounced Dick. Dick cartoon.
I'll give you that one.
Because nobody likes it.
No, but there's a lot of characters that only appear in Deke that don't appear anywhere else. Metalhead, Cesspool, the Eco Warriors, a lot of vehicle drivers, a lot of other Vipers. So for that part, I know people like that from a certain generation of G.I. Joe collectors that were like 88. And I'm not going to add whoever else, but it's a friend of both of ours. But it's a little hard to watch. The last two episodes, all it is a recap. One is a joke.
Man. I remember Falcon getting hooked on meth, and
oh boy, that was bad. That was bad. Oh man,
that was needed, man. It was much needed.
I got booted, he said. Did you boot him?
No, I didn't boot him.
That's funny.
Yeah, Falcon getting hooked on meth was a great concept.
Oh man, that was too much. It just gives poor Falcon like no respect. He's like the Rodney Dangerfield of G.I. Joe. And if for people out there that don't know who the hell Rodney Dangerfield is, Google him. He gets no respect. Oh man, this is.
And let's see, what was it? It was a Crimson Guard. Was it a Crimson Guard Immortal's sister? that was smoking meth
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I don't know. I'm not. As I try to keep away from Deke as much as possible.
There he is.
You're back.
I mean, okay, I'll call it Deke. I mean, you don't have to kick me out of the live stream. Jeez Louise.
Well, we
No
moved
respect.
on now to Falcon smoking meth in that cartoon, and with a Crimson Guard's sister. So,
Ugh.
You
Well,
know what?
a lot of those characters showed up in the comic books because Cesspool was a big deal in the
They're
comic for a little
totally
bit.
different. The comic book versions of those characters are totally different. Like Cesspool was really serious. He was a businessman that was doing bad things, and he paid for his actions, and he was trying to come after the world because of it. That's the real Cesspool. The clown that they had in Deke cartoon was not Cesspool.
That's just ignorant. That's just ignorant.
But do you remember? Did you watch the Full Force interview with Lenny and Tony this past week, Terry?
no, I did not.
Well, they mentioned that Lenny said one of his most favorite all-time characters, and he would love to get it into the classified line, Cesspool and the Eco Warriors.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it, man. Like I liked all that stuff. Like, but I'm a '90s kid.
Yeah.
I was, I was getting all the GI Joe stuff in the early '90s, dude, and like the Eco. Where you can see behind me. No, you can't. Where did I move those? Oh yeah, you can. So up top, I have the Shadow Ninjas and Drug Elimination Force, and I have the Eco Warriors up on top behind me.
I love them. The only problem I've ever had with Eco Warriors, and I talked to Vinny D'Aleva, who was the brand manager at the time and the marketing manager for G.I. Joe and Hasbro for Boys Toys at the time. Why in the HELL hockey sticks didn't airtight? Why wasn't he the leader of Eco Warriors? And he told me the reason behind it and everything had to do with something to do with trying to keep primary characters in the line at any given time, and they just dropped the ball. They admit they dropped the ball, that they should have had Airtight as the leader. Shouldn't have been Flint. Flint had no business being the leader of the Eco Warriors.
The thing with GI Joe, it's always like that. Somebody's always getting something not quite what we would consider to be right.
Yeah.
You know what they could have done with Echo Warriors? Make that be the group that fights the Inhumanoids.
Yeah, for sure.
Or lead into it.
Perfect crossover, because Ace was in Inhumanoids.
Yeah.
The very end.
Yep. Because he crashed and got disabled, and something happened, and they were like, "Hey, you can join us," and he did. So
and they made his Sky Striker part of him.
Yeah.
You know, when you were a minute
abandoned
ago, you guys were talking about the retro carded figures. I didn't get a chance to say anything about it other than the Fred and the Dick cartoon. But I really think like that's the way the figures need to come. Like, get rid of the boxes except for like 2-packs or whatever, and put them on the single card blister packs, because I just think they look better and they'll sell more. Because like I've got guys that'll buy 2 of each or 3 of each, one to open and one to display, and then they look nicer, and that's the way they came. And like the artwork, just pay this man's estate the money and you reuse it.
It's not his estate. It's not his estate. He didn't own that artwork. He was being contracted out by CLNL or whatever ad agency. So
yeah, but there might be some royalties involved, and that's what I'm talking about. If there's royalties involved, just pay them.
Royalties. He never owned G.I. Joe. Hasbro owned G.I. Joe.
No, I understand that Hasbro owns G.I. Joe.
Clause, please.
But if you do artwork, sometimes you get royalties off of your artwork, regardless if you own the property or not, if that's in your contract.
But he was assigned by CNL and H or whatever, Puma, to do a job. He did the job. I don't think he had any legal thing there at all. I can ask Carson Metaxas. He could tell me. He's talked to the man, and he's talked to the head
I'm
of
sure he could tell you.
HLNC.
Yeah, he would know.
Just
But
for
regardless, they should use his artwork.
Yeah, of
for
course.
a future live stream, who would like to see me open one of these 23-year-old figures that comes with G.I. Joe shaped gum pieces?
What? Don't give me one of these Jason Packard things where you're gonna try food from 40 years ago.
Yes!
And don't do it.
Like,
Because
I want to try this gum.
you're gonna make yourself sick.
20.
I don't think I'd recommend that.
Yeah, this like 22-year-old gum. I want to try this. This figure's dated like 2003. Yeah. Yeah. 2003 for the gum. Like, I want to try that.
Well, more power to you. You have
But I
the
want to do it in a
ability.
live stream. So it's going to be on either our Sunday stream or Circle of Jerks, one of the two.
Try it on the circle.
Might be on both.
Because that makes sense more.
What is it?
I said it makes more sense to do it on the Circle of Jerks one.
Yeah. The the requirement for Circle of Jerks is that you must be bald and have facial hair.
Well, I'm getting close. Look.
Just shave it, David.
People told me I have my barbers and stuff have told me I have a lumpy head, so I do not have that nice dome cranium that you have. Man.
Just do it. Doesn't matter.
I'd have a flat head. Okay, I'll try it. Well, look, here's another thing that they mentioned in that interview. I think you're going to find fascinating. It's been a question of mine why we only got the mole rats and nothing else. And their comment to that was they do not want to go back to the well and spoil a good thing that often. But that doesn't mean they're done with zombies in G.I. Joe.
Well, also something else that we have is Crystal Ball being a Walmart exclusive. So he's obviously part of that entire Energon story because that's what the whole Walmart exclusive line, the Night Force G.I. Joe line, is about. It's all Dark Energon based.
And since you bring that up, that's a good segue to my next thing. This wave that we are going to be getting on April 15th that we can pre-order, it's been reshuffled. So Night Viper and Sci-Fi were shuffled out for another wave. And it has been said that there was not supposed to be 4 dedicated waves. There was only 3. So now there's going to be a 4th dedicated wave. I feel it's going to be part of what I was talking to Dan a while back about, that they're doing a dedicated section of the Game Islander at 1,000 different Walmarts where there will be a Hasbro dedicated action figure section that will include Star Wars Black Series, Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified in this section in 1,000 stores across the country for the fall. It'll be from like mid-October to sometime in December. So I think they're creating this 4th line or 4th wave of dedicated stuff and some extra ancillary things to fit into this modular at Walmart.
That could be very interesting. I would like to see figures actually selling in physical stores, but I just don't see it happening because we got too many people that walk by and say, "Oh, that's cool, G.I. Joe hanging on the shelf in Walmart. I'll wait till it goes on clearance."
I don't think we have
bought
any.
one figure. I'll say this. I'm proud to say this. I've never bought one figure on clearance. And I have 3 and 4 of almost every single classified figure.
I can't seem to find any classifieds around town except in my shop.
Yeah.
The only ones that I saw that really appeared on clearance was the first couple waves of the retro card, because they made that Baroness and Lady J wave too prevalent. There was too many of them. And then a little bit of the Destro Gung Ho line. And once sporadically you might find a Shipwreck or a Rock and Roll or a Zorana or a Crimson Guard, but that's about the extent of clearance that I've ever seen.
Well, I've been getting a lot of reports from customers that there's no GI Joe representation at all at Target or Walmart.
No, they took out the dedicated spots for Walmart. I know that for a fact. This thing that I'm talking about is a special thing that's going to be in the middle of the action alley that's usually dedicated to Hasbro games. That's why it's called the Game Islander. And they're going to take a section of that Islander that's in the middle of the friggin' aisle and make it Hasbro dedicated product. Marvel, Black Series, and Classified. So that's only for like whatever amount of time, mid October to mid December for that planogram.
All right, guys. My wife is threatening to pick up the phone and cut off the internet on me, so I got to get off here.
Okay. Well, it's been fun.
Yes. Let's focus more on making this a weekly show where we get on here. We basically just kind of bullshit about toys and comics and everything else.
Sounds good to
Sounds
me.
good to me.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks
Mr.
for joining
Terry.
in, guys, and we'll see you later.
Good to see you guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye, Dan.
See ya.